Suddenly seeing herself with top model looks, a plus-sized lady starts seeking new opportunities in love, not knowing that her transformation isn't as magical as she thinks. While wearing a leather skirt, Alice gets catcalled. But when she ignores the man, he ridicules her physique. This makes her regret wearing the skirt. She soon meets her friends, Selma and Camille, who assure her that she looks good. The trio heads to the bar, but when Alice tries to order something, she gets ignored while a prettier woman instantly gets the bartender's attention. A man even spills his drink on Alice, but instead of apologizing to her, he checks on the other woman. Ignored, Alice cleans up in the bathroom, but two other ladies start complaining about their size despite being slim. This further hurts Alice's self-esteem. In the morning, she and her friends visit Alice's mother, Nanu, and her brother Ryan, for the latter's birthday. During this, Selma mentions that Alice just signed up for hot yoga, where they do yoga exercises in a very warm room. Soon, Alice attends her first class, and is surprised when she meets supermodel Constance there. She compliments the woman's work, and Constance is humble about it. However, Constance starts getting more attention, making Alice feel invisible. Then, one of the staff tells Alice that they booked too many people for this session, so they ask to reschedule her. The woman has no choice but to oblige. But before she leaves, another customer asks her to clean the toilet, mistaking her for a janitor. She rants about this to Camille during work, though she mentions that Constance was nice to her, at least. Just then, their boss, Gerard, tells them that they're understaffed, so the ladies have to do deliveries today. He assigns Alice to deliver to the Chastang building. The company is a luxury makeup brand, and having been working in the kitchen all day, Alice is nervous that she looks terrible. She's also nervous about meeting one of the owners, Dimitri Chastang, whom she finds attractive. Alice soon drives up to the building and is stunned to see Dimitri's sister and co-owner, Capucine. Just then, she overhears that they're looking to hire Capucine's personal assistant. She looks up the online job post that night but gets discouraged when one of the requirements is having an image that represents the Chastang brand. She moves on to her Chinese takeouts and opens her fortune cookie. Thunder rumbles just as she reads the message about asking for the impossible. Her electricity then fails, and, thinking that it's a sign, Alice wishes that she was beautiful. Suddenly the power returns, but when Alice checks herself in the mirror, she still looks the same. The next day, she finally attends yoga class but struggles to keep up. Soon, she ends up tripping on herself and knocking her head on a nearby beam. Alice later wakes up in the locker room and starts studying her body as if seeing it for the first time. Despite having no changes in her physique, Alice suddenly thinks she has a perfect body. With a newfound confidence, Alice later walks into a bar in an alluring outfit. She immediately tells her friends not to freak out, insisting that it's really her, though the women see her exactly the same as the last time. Her friends think it's a joke and start complimenting her non-existent changes, which further convinces Alice that her new beauty is real. With a new perception of her body, Alice submits her application to be Capucine's assistant the following morning. She then calls in sick from work while waiting to pick up her dry cleaning. After her call, another customer, Benjamin, arrives, and she advises him to get a number for his turn. Curious about the waiting time, he asks what her number is, and Alice mistakes that he's asking for her phone number. With that, she boldly flirts and exchanges numbers with him. While hanging out with her friends later, a man asks for a light for his cigarette, and Alice assumes that he just wants to talk to her. Just then, she learns that she has a scheduled interview for the assistant job. Alice is convinced that everything is possible for her now, though her friends are getting tired of her new arrogance. The next day, she's interviewed by Christine, who barely listens to her. She asserts that the job doesn't promise any advancement within the beauty industry, and Alice assures her that she has no interest in being a model. This makes Christine laugh. Christine then hires her since she's available and willing to give herself fully to the job. After the woman leaves, Christine's assistant, Clarice, wonders why they're hiring Alice. The woman admits that given Capucine's track record with her assistants, she assumes Alice will only last 15 days. The next day, Alice meets Capucine, but the woman barely looks at her and just gives her the tasks she needs to do. Her new co-workers are confused as Alice joins them for lunch. She tries to sit with the ladies, but they claim their seats are taken, though they're actually embarrassed by Alice and her heavy meal. And so she ends up sitting with Greg, who works in IT. The next day, Alice visits Greg in his office, who's creating a program for the company. As Alice looks at the code he's writing, Greg glances at her chest and gets nervous. That night, Alice meets up with Benjamin, though he hesitates about going to a Chinese restaurant with a karaoke stage. During dinner, Benjamin mentions that he's building an app called Annie Match, which Alice mistakes as a dating app for pets. Alice is then called to the stage since she signed up to sing. She ties up her shirt for a more alluring look before taking the stage confidently. Despite her awkward dancing, Benjamin admires her confidence. She even gets the other customers to dance, livening up the place. The next day, Capucine nervously presents her new marketing ideas to her grandmother and company founder, Lily. However, her idea to partner with a caviar brand disappoints her grandmother since young people don't eat caviar. Alice walks in to bring drinks and overhears Lily scolding Capucine and her team before leaving. Desperate, Capucine urges her team to come up with something, but gets distracted when Alice accidentally drops the water bottles. Still, Capucine asks Alice to share her ideas. Put on the spot, Alice wonders if they can start selling in supermarkets to widen their market to those who can't afford luxury brands. The others roll their eyes at this, but Capucine wonders if Alice would buy makeup from such stores. The woman admits that she and her friends would if they were a bit cheaper. She then points out a foundation that includes a new brush. Most customers who'd buy it would likely already have their own brushes, so if they remove the brush from the package, they could sell it for a cheaper price. To everyone else's surprise, Capucine tells them to note this down before thanking Alice. Later that day, Alice finally meets Capucine's brother, Dimitri. She's stunned by the man's presence, while Dimitri is also surprised that his sister hired her. He discreetly tells her that everyone else would claim that he's a parasite in the company, but he defends that it's because he has the most fun. With this, he asks her to keep him posted on what his sister is doing. Alice is enamored to have his attention, so she happily obliges. That evening, Alice meets Benjamin at the movie theater, though she catches him talking to someone about failing all his job interviews in the last 6 months. She asks him about this, and the man confesses that he was actually laid off by the Annie Match company 6 months ago. Alice offers to help, but Benjamin thinks the job search is different for her since she's confident. Alice defends that he's smart and handsome, so he can impress people in his next job interview. To force him to accept the interview, she tells him that she'll show herself to the others if he doesn't. With no choice, Benjamin confirms his interview schedule, and this earns him a kiss from Alice. Feeling excited, the woman suggests ditching the movie. With this, Benjamin takes her to his apartment. While the man tidies up, his date comes out without her clothes. They proceed to get intimate, though Alice watches herself in the mirror during this. The following day, Capucine surprises Alice by showing her the products they're working on to sell to supermarkets. Alice is happy that they're considering her suggestion, but her boss also wants to put demonstrators in supermarkets to advise new customers how to use their products. Alice explains that most of her friends find makeup demonstrators intimidating, since they're always more attractive than them. It makes the regular customer feel ugly, so they prefer to buy in supermarkets where they can shop in peace. Capucine sees her point, so she calls her idea stupid. Alice tries to encourage the woman by calling her perfect, but Capucine admits that she hates her high-pitched voice. She has gone to vocal coaches to make herself sound less childish, but every time she speaks, people don't take her seriously. Alice points out that she's leading a company, but Capucine argues that it's because she's Lily's granddaughter. Still, her assistant insists that she shouldn't be ashamed since she keeps working hard to maintain her position. Just then, Capucine suggests bringing Alice to her family dinner tonight to help her pitch the new product line. She even suggests bringing her boyfriend, and Alice can't refuse her boss. That night, Alice brings Benjamin with her, though he's intimidated when Dimitri asks him about his career. He lies about working on the Annie Match app, and Lily finds the idea of animal dating apps adorable. Capucine then brings up the new product line, though Alice could tell she's nervous. With this, she takes over and befriends Lily, though her boss gets jealous of how easily she gets along with her grandmother. Alice then explains how middle-class consumers are less interested in luxury, but more in practicality. With this, they've come up with the capsule collection to let them use their items at a practical cost. Lily agrees, and since Alice seems to understand the new market better, she wants her to present this during the investors' meeting. With this new trajectory in her career, Alice becomes so busy with work that she fails to answer her mother's calls. Nanu tries visiting her, but Alice is overwhelmed with work, so she urges her to leave. Alice also starts gaining new friends at work while ignoring calls from her old friends. One night, she finally meets Selma and Camille, who are sitting with Seb and Louis. When Seb greets her, Alice assumes he's flirting, so she announces that she's in a relationship and he should focus on Selma. Camille then continues to tell Louis how she got a cold recently, and Alice scolds her since it's not attractive to talk about that. She then goes to the bar to order drinks, and her friends use this chance to ask why she's pretending that she's better than them. Alice defends that she's trying to help them seem more attractive, but Selma points out that she just embarrassed them. As if to prove their point, they turn back to their table, and Seb and Louis are already speaking to other women. However, Alice insists that she can help find them better dates. At her insistence, the trio head to a nightclub. While in line, Alice spots Clarice and asks her to help them get in. However, when Clarice sees Selma and Camille, she claims that she can only bring in one more person. So Alice tells her friends that only she can go in. Selma reminds her that they didn't even want to go there, and Alice assumes she means that it's okay for her to go without them. With that, Alice heads in, leaving her friends outside. The following day, Alice travels with Capucine and Dimitri to attend the investors' event. While at the hotel, Dimitri visits Alice, who isn't dressed well, so she hurries to put on some sweatpants. He then compliments the woman for earning Lily and Capucine's respect. He thinks she has a magnetic energy, but Alice notes that he's the one who attracts many women. Just then, Dimitri leans in for a kiss, but Alice receives a message from Benjamin. Reminded that she has a boyfriend, she excuses herself from Dimitri and goes to the bathroom, where she slips and hits her head. Alice wakes up late that day and sees that she's late for the presentation. She hurries to catch up, only to see her reflection and think that she just reverted to her normal self. Horrified, Alice leaves, thinking that her appearance has changed and she can't do her job anymore. Alice wakes up at home the next day and receives several messages from Capucine. Despite her not showing up for the presentation, Capucine followed her notes and it went really well, so she invites her to the launch party. Just then, Benjamin connects to Alice via a video call, but she hides from him, thinking that he won't recognize her. He mentions that his job interview went really well, so he thanks her for encouraging him. That night, Alice looks at the photos of her and her friends, finally realizing that she might have ruined their friendship. She heads out to see them, but the two disregard her. Alice thinks it's because she's ugly again, but Selma corrects her that it's because she's been awful to them. Alice defends that she got distracted when all her dreams came true, but her friends assert that it doesn't give her the right to treat them like garbage. Alone and having her dream taken away, Alice spends the next few days depressed in bed. One day, Benjamin invites her to dinner, and she finally decides to face him to see if he'll accept her. That night, however, she hesitates to go to Benjamin at the restaurant. Instead, she heads to the bar, and when he sees her, she assumes that he doesn't recognize her. Unable to face him, she texts him to cancel the date, which confuses the man. Thinking that she's joking, he pretends to flirt with her like a stranger. He then mentions that his girlfriend is late, but he's willing to wait since he really likes her for her intellect and beauty. This makes Alice think that he won't accept her for her real looks, so she heads out. She then calls him to break up, not wanting to ruin his image of her. The next day, the woman passes by an advertisement from the yoga class. Thinking she'll transform there again, she attends another class. She tries to recreate her accident, but can't make herself hit her head on the beam again. Disappointed, Alice goes to the sauna where she finds Constance crying over being dumped. Alice finds this hard to believe since the model is gorgeous, but Constance admits that her looks don't stop her from lacking self-confidence. Surprised, Alice admits that it's nice for someone like her to learn that a beauty like Constance has issues like the rest of them. The model admits that that's reality. Then she prepares to leave to attend the Chastain launch. Alice asks about this, so Constance notes that she's the brand model for their new product line. This angers Alice, so after Constance leaves, she rants to the receptionist about how the product line is targeted to the average woman, yet they choose a model to represent it. The receptionist sarcastically suggests that they should have gotten Alice, and this gives her an idea. With this in mind, she invites Camille, Selma, and her mother to the Chastain launch. At the launch party, she asks Greg's help to show the images she prepared. Soon, Capucine takes the stage to nervously announce the new capsule collection. However, the lights go out, and Capucine hurries to her brother for help. Greg then starts Alice's show with the woman taking the stage. With her friends and mother watching, Alice talks about how she used to be the average woman. She shows images of when she worked at Chastain and when she was in the kitchen to compare. But this finally has her realizing that her appearance never changed after all. She mutters to herself that there was never any magic, so when she didn't mind her appearance, she became more open about herself. With this, Alice tells the audience that they shouldn't destroy themselves just because someone thinks they're not pretty enough. Instead, they need to be proud of themselves. She then shows images of her mother and her friends, noting that these are what real women look like, full of imperfections, yet still brilliant. With that, she introduces the capsule collection, which won't change their lives but will help show the world their beauty. The audience applauds the woman, and Lily even goes to her grandchildren to compliment them for organizing this presentation, finally giving them the acceptance they've yearned for. With that settled, Alice hurries to Benjamin's apartment. The man watches her through the intercom as the woman apologizes for her behavior. She tells him that she was confused about herself, thinking that he saw her as a different person. Soon, Benjamin hurries down and assures her that he's always seen her for who she is. With this, the two kiss. Not long after, Benjamin joins Alice's family and friends as they celebrate the woman's success, with Alice accepting that she's loved for who she really is.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.